This is NBC 12 News Today.
Nate downgrading from a hurricane to a tropical storm overnight. The weather system pounding the Gulf Coast, bringing massive floodwaters, covering streets and filling up parking decks in just the past few hours. Thank you for waking up with us. I'm Brent Solomon. We'll get a check on Tropical Storm Nate as well as some breaking news happening closer to home. But first, we want to check in with Megan Wise standing by with a look at our local forecast. And we're talking about some rain here, Megan.
We do have a chance, Brent.
All right, Megan, stay close. We'll check in soon. Breaking overnight in Richmond, police tell us one man has died and another is fighting for his life after a shooting in Shockoe Bottom. Now, this was just after 1 a.m. in the 1700 block of East Main Street. Several of you called into our newsroom after you saw a heavy police presence in that area. Well, officers tell us when they got to the scene, the man was already dead and the other was rushed to the hospital. It's still not clear what led to that shooting, but if you were in the area, maybe you saw something, call Crime Stoppers at the number on your screen. New information now after a man leads police on a chase that started in Chesterfield, went through Richmond and ended in Hanover. During that chase, the man crashes his car, gets out to run, and then fires shots, possibly in the direction of state troopers. So Eric Phillips has the very latest from state police. Great reporting there, Eric. Thank you. Now, the good news here, no one involved was hurt. We do know a passenger was in the car with that man. The passenger has since been released and is not facing charges, but the man at the center of this story still on the run this morning. We have calls out to state police and we're expecting to get more details. And as soon as we learn something, we'll be sure to pass them on. For now, the ramps that closed along Lewistown Road because of this situation are back open. Tropical Storm Nate bringing high winds and heavy flooding, already leaving behind significant damage to parts of the Mississippi coast after making a second landfall. Jay Gray has the very latest from Mobile, Alabama. All right, let's turn it over now to Megan Wise, standing by in the Weather Center, because Megan, a lot of folks watching this, when the good news, if there's any, is that Nate has been downgraded.
Absolutely, really.
All right, you're taking a live look now at I-64 in Shockoe. Tracy Lynn has what you need to know before you hit the road this Sunday morning. Thank you, Tracy. A white nationalist group returned to Charlottesville Saturday night, once again with tiki torches at Emancipation Park. This after demonstrations surrounding their last visit ended in the death of protester Heather Heyer. Among last night's supporters was well-known white nationalist Richard Spencer. The rally lasted some 15 minutes and members in the crowd chanted that they would be back. The mayor sent out a tweet calling the visit a despicable display by, quote, neo-Nazi cowards. You're not welcome here. Go home, the mayor said. A Black Lives Matter group later staged a counter-protest at the UVA president's home. That group chanted to police while reading off a list of demands. No arrest to report this morning. Chesterfield police now investigating after a man's body is discovered along the James River. Officers found that body yesterday on the shore of the Dutch Gap boat landing. Police have not yet released the man's name and they still don't know how he died. So if you have any info that could help, call Crime Solvers at 748-0660. Well, right now the TSA is warning airports in Virginia, D.C. and Maryland to be on alert for this man. They're calling him suspicious. Investigators say Ahmed Salou already tried to access restricted areas and even tried to get on airplanes in 6 different states. The TSA says he often pretends to be a passenger or a crew member using a false name and a fake ID. Well, since then, he's made several attempts to get onto planes at Dulles and Reagan airports. Well, did you miss the 2nd Street Festival? If so, don't worry. The excitement and food, it continues today. So still ahead, we'll tell you about one of the city's most celebrated events, honoring the culture and pride of the historic Jackson Ward. But first, we've got some info on companies hiring for jobs, and you don't even have to leave your home for these jobs. We'll tell you about that. And Megan is standing by. Megan, what are you working on?
Seeing some rain back to the...
Thanks for staying with us. Your time now is 9:13. Meteorologist Megan Wise is in the First Alert Weather Center. She's tracking your Sunday forecast, so we're going to check in with her in just a few minutes. But first, investigators now say the situation involving a car that plowed into a crowd in London this weekend was not an act of terrorism. Emergency crews raced to the Natural History Museum after several pedestrians were hurt. Bystanders pinned the driver to the ground before police could arrive. So far, no charges have been filed. Caught on camera, a man narrowly cheats death after falling from one of China's largest waterfalls. Watch as he climbs over a fence before taking the plunge over the 66-foot-high waterfall. He landed on a rock below. That man suffered back injuries and will need surgery after that accident. All right, so working from home is a pretty attractive concept, right? Well, turns out many of those jobs require little to no experience, and you can even set your own schedule. So our diva of discounts has the rundown of who is hiring, but most importantly, who will pay you the most. Great work there, Jennifer. Now, there are some specific websites you can go to right now to find out your next stay-at-home job. We've put them all on NBC12.com for you. Just look for the On Your Side tab and click on More Bang for Your Buck. Well, you've got one more chance to be a part of something great in Jackson Ward today. Of course, I'm talking about the 2nd Street Festival. It's 29 years strong this year, and today is the last chance you can enjoy the music, mingling, and of course, the good food. The festival celebrates Jackson Ward's rich culture and an area that was once known as the Harlem of the South. The festival continues today from 1 until 6 tonight. And the community is taking time out to recognize more than a dozen special people in our area who have a lot to be grateful for. They are all at least 100 years old. Our own Kelly Avellino had the privilege of serving as mistress of ceremony for the luncheon held at the Virginia Historical Society. The event's organizers interviewed each honoree and then shared a snapshot of their lives and accomplishments. These folks lived through an incredible century. One special lady named Mamie started working at 9 years old, cleaning homes for 10 cents. This morning, we salute and celebrate their lives. I want you to take a look at this. We're giving this week's NBC 12 Restaurant Report Hall of Fame Award to 360 Pizzeria in Mechanicsville. They use an old world 48-hour cold rise method for their pizza dough, which is hand tossed.
And it's not easy.
He knows what he's talking about. 360 has aced 4 health inspections in a row. Keep up the good work there. Of course, you can watch On Your Side investigator Heather Sullivan's Restaurant Report every Thursday, only at 11 o'clock, to see which area restaurants racked up critical violations.
Neighborhood Health Watch.
Brent?
All right, may want to set those umbrellas out, put it by the door just to be ready. Well, do you ever find yourself on your phone texting away? Maybe you don't quite know the words you want to say. Well, Apple is hoping to fix that problem. Coming up, we'll tell you about a new batch of emojis coming in the week ahead. Time is 9:22 and you're taking a live look from our NBC 12 Pet Cam. To keep up with these pets, just log on to NBC12.com/petcam. A Hopewell man waking up in the hospital after being shot in the chest and hand Friday night. Officers say they found the 23-year-old man with those gunshot wounds around 10:45 on Burren Street. Now, he is expected to survive, but right now, officers say he's not cooperating. Call Crime Solvers if you have any information that could help. And in case you missed it last night, country superstar Jason Aldean opened Saturday Night Live with an emotional tribute to the victims and survivors of last Sunday's tragedy in Las Vegas. Aldean's concert last week became the site of the country's worst mass shooting. Aldean continued his tribute on SNL, playing the late Tom Petty's hit, "I Won't Back Down." All right, Apple is set to introduce new emojis in this week's upcoming iOS update. Apple's new batch will include more expressive smiley faces, mythical creatures, and gender-neutral options. Apple previewed more than 24 emojis, including a hedgehog, a giraffe, and an angry emoji face with explicit characters blocking the mouth. Interesting. Recently, the tech giant has been stepping up efforts to include more diverse options. Well, Tropical Storm Nate moving inland, which could mean more power outages, debris, and flight delays. So next at 9:30, the latest on Nate's impact as it makes a second landfall along the Gulf Coast. That's straight ahead.
News today.
Well, a very good Sunday morning to you. Time now is 9:30. I hope you're having a good day. We're having a good time here at NBC 12. I want to go to the Second Street Festival, Megan. A lot of folks saying it's the last day I want to go.
Yeah, yesterday it looked like a great time.
All right, thank you, Megan. It was another violent night in the city of Richmond as police responded to a triple shooting in the South Side. Police responded to the 1600 block of Glenfield Avenue. This was around 11:30 last night in the Hillside Court community. When they got there, officers found 3 victims, 1 juvenile and 2 adults suffering from gunshot wounds. They were transported to the hospital. All are expected to recover. If you have any tips that could help police in this case, call Crime Stoppers. Millions of people along the Gulf Coast are on high alert as Nate first made landfall in Louisiana. Well, now it's making a second landfall along the Mississippi coast. So for the very latest, we turn to Natasha Chen. Megan, a lot of folks now seeing that Nate has been downgraded, but a tropical storm can still cause some damage.
Yeah, it certainly can. It's bringing some heavy rain. Brent?
Megan, thanks for the update. Well, now to the latest on that terrifying accident involving a carnival ride in South Richmond. Witnesses say a child fell 10 feet off of a Ferris wheel Friday night. This was at the old Kmart parking lot off Midlothian Turnpike. Well, that child thankfully is doing fine this morning. I spoke with safety experts about what you need to know before your kids get on any ride. Early Saturday, the Ferris wheel that led to Friday night's commotion was shut down as the other rides and vendors reopened. Although tragic, experts say the scene at the Ferris wheel could have ended differently.
We've seen people in a similar situation fall from the top of the wheel and fall into their death.
To avoid a catastrophe, ride safety expert Ken Martin says all rides are double checked before open to the public, which finds many wondering what went wrong Friday when witnesses saw what appeared to be a child being treated on the ground and someone else dangling on top of the Ferris wheel.
Well, my first reaction was, did somebody stand up? Was the gondola properly balanced that the people were riding in?
As inspectors review the circumstances, Martin says it's up to you to also do your due diligence at any amusement park.
You have to stay seated. You have to follow the rules. You have to use the restraints where provided. You need to make sure that you and your party fit the requirements of the amusement ride. And unattended children are just not allowed. Then you have to have a responsible person with them, okay? And I define a responsible person as an adult, not a teenager, not a 9 or 10-year-old. It has to be a responsible individual. Every day people want to take selfies and so forth in the wheel. You can't do that in a moving wheel, unless it's properly balanced. Now what child, what toddler is going to know about that, Brett?
In the end, he says,
any amusement ride is safe when used properly.
And there you have it, some great advice there. We reached out to the company that operates the amusement park for an updated statement. We'll let you know once we hear back. Well, a plane that crashed into a home in Middlesex will be removed later today. 3 people were on board at the time of the crash, but were all treated at the hospital. They're expected to be fine. The sheriff tells us the single-engine plane took off from Hummelfield Airport just before 9 yesterday morning. The pilot lost control, flew between 2 trees, and crashed into the house. No one was in that home at the time. Another plane crash to tell you about, this one happening yesterday as well in Virginia, this time in the Shenandoah Valley. 1 person died in this fiery accident. State police say the small private plane crashed near the Front Royal Airport just before 2 yesterday afternoon. Now the NTSB is looking into what caused the plane to go down. Investigators have not yet released the name of the person who died. New police body cam video showing the moments a black man was shot and killed by a white police officer in Salt Lake City. Patrick Harmon was pulled over in August after authorities say he rode across several lanes of traffic on his bicycle. Police stopped and questioned Harmon after they found open warrants for his arrest. They tried to cuff him, but he bolted from police. Well, that's when 2 officers fired, one with live bullets, the other with a stun gun. Prosecutors say Harmon flashed a knife and threatened to cut the cops. The district attorney's office says the officer's use of deadly force was justified. Well, a protest is set for later today in Salt Lake City, where folks say they're demanding what they call justice for Harmon and his family. And many of you talking about this one, rapper Nelly out of jail this morning after getting arrested yesterday on rape allegations. Police in Washington say they got a call from a woman who claims the rapper sexually assaulted her on his tour bus. Nelly's attorney says he is the victim of a completely fabricated allegation. Authorities say Nelly will go before a judge, but a court date hasn't been set in stone yet. The case is still under investigation. Well, it's been 1 week now since the shooter opened fire, killing 58 people and injuring hundreds more in Las Vegas. Well, now people from around that city are coming together in a place made for peace. Still ahead, how a special garden is helping friends and families of the victims heal. And Megan is standing by.
We have some showers.
Refusing to give in to fear after last Sunday's deadly mass shooting in Las Vegas, people in the city are paying their respects to the victims of that tragedy at a newly made healing garden. Christy Wilcox tells us more. Remarkable. And of course, we're still following this morning's top stories on social media, so be sure to follow and like us. We're back right after the break.
Brent?
Fall temperatures coming. I don't mind it at all. Thank you. Well, right now, I want you to take a look at this. A woman in Bristol, Virginia, facing charges after investigators tell us she accidentally texted a police officer trying to sell him drugs. The officer started getting texts on his work phone from the woman. 46-year-old Shannon Miller, you see her here. She's from Chesapeake. She agreed to meet the officer to allegedly finish off the deal. Miller met the officer at a hotel and said she thought she was actually texting someone else. Investigators say she had more than $1,000 worth of drugs. Miller was arrested and charged. It was certainly a muddy day in Petersburg for hundreds of people taking on the Rugged Maniac Challenge. The 5K obstacle course at Motorsports Park had 25 adrenaline-pumping feats like water slides, trampolines, and even fire jumps. It's also a day-long festival with live music, food, and beer. There were even mechanical bulls on hand. All the money made benefiting the American Cancer Society. Well, fall is literally in the air in Colorado. The annual Pumpkin Chunkin' kicking off in Aurora this weekend. Chuckers from around the country gather to propel plump orange gourds into space, turning pumpkins into premature pumpkin pies. Teams use slingshots and air cannons to launch the pumpkins hundreds of feet into the air and as far as 1 mile. The event officially wraps up later today.
Have a great Sunday.
Great update, Matt. Thanks. Now remember, you can find your latest news and weather updates on our website at NBC12.com.
And we'll be right back with a final look at your forecast. Tonight we're in the mid-70s.
All right, but if you're heading out to the 2 Street Festival, maybe dress light.
Dress light. Maybe pack an umbrella just to be on the safe side.
Well, there you go. There you have it. Thank you so much, Megan. Making a great one.